Good afternoon. How are you all doing? It's almost 3 o'clock, but I came through real quick because I wanted to speak with you about something. You have to be real careful about what you end up being associated with, not just a person, but certain things. We, as Black Americans, are forgetting a very important piece of information, which is the following. You do not want the Black and Brown American voice, vote, to be associated with certain things. And I think that within our community, we have a tendency to not understand when chess is being played when it comes down to the Black community. We don't understand or recognize when we are being moved around the board because in certain situations we're led to believe that we're moving the board or we own the board. And because of that, we don't pay attention to strategies. I remember during the 80s, 90s, there was in early 2000, there was a huge push from within the Black community to stop having Black people being associated with all violent crimes on news stations. If a violent crime happened, they will only show the crimes that were created involving Black people. And so, because of that, a stigma was created that associated violent criminals and criminality with African Americans, and that stain still remains. We've worked diligently to replace those images with positive images of Black people within our community and culture. Here's the problem: we forgot that strategy is still in place, not depicting us as violent. No, they still use it occasionally, but I want you to get your little phone and go on your notes app. And I want you to pay attention to how within social media we're being strategically moved around. And I'm going to go ahead and say it and save you some time. They are using our faces, our voices, to be the new face and voice of hatefulness and racism in America. You have to understand the threat that it makes when African Americans, we've strategically, we've done a wonderful job of being able to dismantle and expose the various forms of racism that non-Black people use against us, predominantly white Americans, and how they marginalize and how they attack Black people because of their race, right? And so we've done a great job of exposing these behaviors, including Karen. The Karen movement, really came from situations involving white people trying to criminalize innocent Black people for no reason, having law enforcement called on the line on them and all of this stuff. Can't go bird watching, can't sell water, can't have a barbecue in the park, can't do walk down the street, can't go into your apartment building. And so the Karen movement gave real life examples of how this type of stuff goes down with racism in day-to-day life for Black people. Well, you have to understand, every time you take a strike like that and it hit hard and it may impact, that bothers some people. And so the new strategy they've been using more and more frequently, I've noticed within the past 5 years, it is shaping this image of Black Americans that we are the bigots and the racists and xenophobics in this country just as much as they are. And the thing is, if your enemy can manage to convince people that you are just like them, you are in trouble. You are in trouble. You cannot use the same strategies, behavior, verbiage, attitudes, you understand, and approaches as your adversary, right? Your adversary are racist people. You cannot begin adapting and adopting their behaviors and their ideological beliefs and expect to still be protected or respected. So what am I talking about? Well, let's get to it. First of all, there was nothing we could do about people choosing to repeat this manosphere red pill rhetoric, even though it's straight out of a far right extremist love box. Like, that's what I call it. It's packaged so well that I could sit, God is my witness, you could sit in a Klan meeting You could sit in a Klan meeting and line by line, precept by precept, the things that are said about Black women by this manosphere thing are the exact same identical wording, sentences, statements, jokes, slurs, insults, all come from out of that far right extremist Klan love box. And so you had African American men making money off of making these comments, making these jabs, and making the content, right? So they slapped a black face on it, right? They washed their hands with it. They didn't do it. They got black men to do it instead. So now we saw another situation where you have where it came out about all this stuff about how non black, well, Hispanic Latinos feel about the black community. Then you had this large uprising of African Americans, and they kept using women videos to express how they were discovering that Hispanic Latinos were didn't really particularly care for African Americans, and they just kept using the bites and clips of what black people were saying in response. But at the end of the day, again, they use their face in their voice to stick to that racism and hatred. Sorry about that. I'm back. We've done amazing work. Now we're at the stage of Essence Fest. Essence Fest. Now we're voicing how we're watching Essence be evolved into something else that's more inclusive of countries, ideas, vibes, cultures from diaspora, opposed to it focusing on American born African American. And that's a legitimate concern. The problem is that now we're going into a place of let's boycott Essence, let's hit them in their pockets. Now, that's another thing that's becoming synonymous with the Black culture of using the money to get their way or using their money to harm businesses, right? So that's something else you don't want synonymous with the African American community. It has to become very apparent that African Americans use their buying power to create very strong, comprehensive business networks, and they build and fortify businesses. They invest in businesses. They support businesses. Where on the flip side, we're also showing the public that the least little thing, that occurs from or with a black business, immediately it has to go viral. You have to pick up your phone or whatever, cut on your computer, and you give this full on, basically campaign to end a business, a black business, and it never fails. It works. It's tremendously hard for black businesses to survive and thrive because majority of our customers are African Americans, unless you are in an industry that serves all citizens across races and cultures. And most black businesses, they have a specific brand or eye or niche that does impact, connect with, serve, and provide to the African American community. So that's a dual-edged sword right there, right? That we're big on black businesses, black brands, but now we're about to boycott Essence. We already have a boycott going on with Target, and we've had other boycotts that occurred over the space, especially in recent years, that boycotting is a big thing that we're doing collectively. The issue is this: you do not want to become the face that they're trying to use on on the chessboard of being destructive. You don't want to become the face and the voice of the bigot, the xenophobic, the hateful, right? And the destructive. You don't want that because they've already shown you early in the game that they want us to be deemed as violent, um, low morals, no family values, no structure. They want us to be viewed that way, right? And so when someone playing chess, the main thing is to get you to act out what would make me feel better or best about what I already believe about you. And at this time, I'm noticing we're in the early part of the summer and they're already in full swing with this of depicting African Americans and moving them around in a manner that fulfill the stereotypes so their faces won't be seen with it anymore. Now they'll be seeing black and brown faces. The things that are being said about the gentleman, the Liberian owner of Essence, and the cry for we need to buy our own, we need to get our own. That is very true. That is very true. But you have to ask yourself this profound question. And most people don't even think about it, especially within our community. Do not for one second think that becoming multimillionaires are anything new in this country. We have had a black elite class the entire time. It isn't anything new. What is new, it is them telling you the amount of money that black entertainers own. You know, they do these different Forbes lists and all of this, and then you think somebody's the first black, or you know, Oprah was the richest woman in the world. You don't understand. There's always been a black elite class that existed in this country the entire time. And a large majority of them are descendants of founding fathers, and they are all up in the Northeast. Yeah, they've been there. They've been there. They're all in Pennsylvania, they're in Virginia, and they're extremely wealthy. I'm talking about you go up in Maryland, yeah, well, no, not just Rhode Island, but they mentioned Rhode Island on the Gilded Age. That's how I slipped that in there just now. But it's it wasn't Rhode Island, it was Maine, Pennsylvania, that Virginia DC hub right there. They've always been there, and they go way back. Say that our era within the African American community, we don't do additional research on these families. Once we see them in history books, we just read about it one time and leave it alone. We see what happened to their descendants. Where are they? What are they doing? And a lot of them, they've always been in that DC circle. I'm talking about the DC circle that make the money and make the rules. I'm not talking about the politicians, right? And the reason why I'm saying this is that we've always had this class of African Americans who existed in this country. That majority of African Americans absolutely positively do not realize that they exist. And you have to wonder to yourself, why didn't they want Essence? Why didn't they want to buy Essence? Well, in realistically, Essence, it's a sinking ship. People aren't into periodicals like that anymore, like they used to years ago. Newspapers, magazines were a big thing. The digital space have pretty much incinerated that entire market. So it's not a cash cow like it used to. So you have to understand, I think what these people are trying to do with Essence is try to find some kind of revival or something for it. They just don't know what to do with it. And it is a sinking ship. The only thing Essence holding on to at this time, it is Essence Fest, you see. And so if they boycott that, then what's left? You know, I've heard quite a few people they're like, you know, it need to go back to us. We need to buy it. When you say we, who you're referring to? So that goes along with what I'm saying. Quit being the face of certain things and quit being the voice of certain things. Certain conversations need to leave off of the social media space. I need for you all to get your memberships, right? Let me show you something. Um, which organizations do you belong to? Just think of it real quick offhand. Those spaces and places are where you need to be having those conversations. Get your behinds off of social media, letting people read, screenshot, and formulate an image about African American community using your face and voice to do it. Everything isn't for everyone to see and hear, and that's something we learned very young as Black people, and we knew better. Nowadays, I don't think they know any better. Certain conversations you don't need to be having in open spaces, and the conversation we having about Essence should not, in a certain lens, It should not be in an open space. No, because now they're presenting it that you have a problem with Africans, that black people don't like Africans, that black people are being racist against Africans. That what I'm trying to show you is that I see what they're doing. I understand lobbyists. I have dealt with a lot of them for years. I know how the game goes. I understand that lobbying is not getting on the phone, calling so and so and so and so, is dropping information in the right place and letting it spread like a virus. And it impact people's mind and impact their behavior. I understand that game the long way, not the short way, the long way. I understand how powerful it is. Okay. I understand how powerful it is. And I understand within my community, they don't. They don't. They don't understand that you're being influenced and being propped up to be the fall guy, because who they're going to use in that next election cycle to get what they want, they're going to use black people. They have already noticed and identified the threat of Kamala Harris. She almost became president of the United States. They have to do anything and everything that they can to disparage or deter anyone from wanting to get behind anything black related or black faced at all. And what they're going to do in the next election cycle, I already see this going down already. That's why I'm talking to you about this. They are using you to say that the blue party has gone back to the blue party of Lyndon B. Johnson, a racist, hate-filled party. They've been harping on that since the Obama first term. That, oh, the Republicans weren't the racists. It was the Democrats, but they were talking about Dixiecrats, right? And just like everything else in humanity, it evolved. It became something else. Well, they're trying to dismantle that. And if they can manage to depict to society that the African Americans, the majority of them vote blue, they're xenophobic towards Africans and other people. They're racist and hateful towards other people, that don't look like them, are not Americans, and telling them to go back to their own countries and do it in your own country first. Using the black face and the black voice to say how much they hate black women. They're fat, they're welfare queens, they're lazy, they have baby daddies, and putting the black face to high crimes, financial crimes, PPP loans, putting the black face to these things. You see, they're painting a very distinct and specific image that I'm asking you to refrain from being a part of. I'm asking you because I'm realizing after what I saw this morning, you all are not paying attention. You're doing too much. We're doing too much. Okay. And we're not thinking enough, and we're not having real conversations. People are doing what get clicks and views, but at the same time it's being used against us. It's being packaged and used against us, right? We have a saying, where I'm from, all skin folks ain't kin folks, right? And I'm not going to explain to you what that mean, because the public don't need to know what certain things mean. But if you know what I mean, just nod your head. Let me tell you something. A lot of these content creators, I've told you before, they get paid for spreading this virus. They get paid for it. And they are not looking at the long game, and they don't care just long as someone shoves some money in their pocket. And they don't understand what's on the line, and what's at risk for us. So it's early enough in this game right now, that you can do a really nice U-turn, or if you real got a big body, you can go ahead and do a 3-point turn, right? But we have to be better at this and see when people are moving their hands. We don't own these platforms. You have to remember that. Everybody complained about Essence. Where is the black digital platforms like your Twitters, your YouTubes, your Facebooks? Where are the black owned platforms? That's if the money is in digital, if the money is in social media, you're worried about an Essence face. Where is the black digital platforms, social media platforms? Where are they, and why aren't we supporting them? What are their barriers to their success to get to Zuckerberg status? Where is it? You see, these are the conversations we should be having. We should be seeing pitches. We should be seeing that, but instead, we're being used to play ourselves in a game that's real nasty. And they got a lot on the line. They talking about trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars, and no one's trying to walk away from any table. They lose that level of money and that level of influence and that level of power. And so, if they have to use you and manipulate you yourselves up, that's exactly what they're going to do. And just like the violent crime pictures and news stories, that would it only worked because it was available to them, meaning people were committing the crimes. If we were not committing the crimes, they wouldn't have had a news story. You see, we have to learn how to remove ourselves from certain situations, certain conversations, so we're not associated with any negative stigmas or stereotypes that may impact the majority of African Americans and cause us to be looked upon in a lesser light. No, I am not saying run, take flight. What I'm saying is be more mindful and strategize how you communicate certain things. And also understand, if you see content that leads in a rabbit hole of black people ending up being looked at less than and we being manipulated, or look at the content and say, can this be used against us later? Are they trying to use this against us later? Yeah, I'm not going to give this content a comment because they're trying to use us. Like I said, we don't own these spaces, so everything on they crowd there's free form sourcing for them to use later, and trust and believe they will use it later. You comment it on any post, they can use it at any time, anywhere they want to. It's free game. It's free game. Free game. You never seen on TV or something, they be showing different clips from somebody commented something and then they put it up there. Why? It's free use. It's in the public space, right? Certain things we need to refrain from. But lastly, think about what I said. Let me say it again. Think about what I said. Tell me your thoughts. I got to run. I have some open houses today. So speak with you soon. Bye.